Hi there, and welcome to my channel. I am Ishani, and I'm the owner of Habitual Rituals, where we aim to provide you with the tools and support you need to connect deeper with your own divinity. Today, we will be doing an extended reading for the collective to see what we need to hear at this time. As always, these messages are timeless, and anytime that you find this message, no matter how far into the future, there is something here for you. Take what you need and leave the rest for someone else. Alrighty, so we are going to start with our die. So we're going to start with our 10-sided die. This is going to give us our Intuit digit. And by the way, this layout is essentially, aside from the extra oracle decks that we will be using, this is essentially what a extended general reading consists of on my website. So if you are ever interested in receiving your own personal reading that goes just as in depth as this will go, definitely check me out on my website at intention.com, and you can definitely book a written extended general reading. All readings are done via email so that you can always have access to that that written reading. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the Intuit digit first. This is going to give us the base of the theme around our reading, going off of the numerological energy of the Intuit digit. This also determines how many cards we pull for the base of our reading from the Lenormand deck. Then we will be rolling the two 12-sided die. The blue will represent our personal chakra, the energy center within our own auric field that is in need of attention, or that is, excuse me, that, we just need to utilize, bring some sort of balance to, healing to, essentially, or yes. And the universal chakra is the energy center that the universe is working from or pulling from when it interacts with us in our day to day. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to roll all three of these at the same time. At the same time. All right. Benevolent spirit guides of this collective, higher selves of this collective, benevolent ancestors of this collective, please provide us with the Intuit digit, personal, and universal chakras for today. Okay, so for the Intuit digit, we received the number 5. Yes, it says 50, but we're just using 1 through 9. So we have the number 5, which represents change, represents freedom, adaptability. So this is indicating to me that Spirit is wanting us to pay very close attention to how we adapt to the changes that we face in our lives, or the changes that we experience in our day-to-day, being able to also embrace and truly embody a sense of freedom in our day-to-day. And also, some of us may not necessarily feel free right now, right? Whatever the circumstances may be for you, that feels constraining, that feels, stressful, that feels confined. Take the time to examine how you can introduce or begin to cultivate a sense of freedom into your life. Now, of course, this can be in a plethora of many different ways, but starting off in small ways to introduce, a sense of freedom into your day-to-day, where you feel, oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to look back at the video to see if it caught what these landed on. I'm so sorry. But with just the number 5, this is saying that we need to pay attention to how things are changing in our lives, being able to adapt to those changes, being open and free and fully embodying the sense of our freedom, and again the flow of our life, being able to flow with whatever sort of obstacles or opportunities that we may come across. So unfortunately, I didn't get to catch what they rolled to on that first roll, so we're gonna have to re-roll them. We are definitely still in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, so that's what I am blaming it on. All right, spiritual guides, benevolent spirit guides, benevolent ancestors of this collective, higher selves of this collective, please provide us with the personal and universal chakras that need our attention today. So for the universal chakra, we receive the third, which is the solar plexus chakra. And for our personal chakra, we received the fourth, which is our heart chakra. So what I am receiving with these, oh wow, we have 3, 4, 5. Okay. But what I'm receiving with these is that, firstly, we are being called to pay very close attention to what our heart feels drawn to, feels called to, feels pulled toward, right? Our passions are going to be a major key player when it comes to determining sort of how we need to move, how or what sort of decisions, what sort of choices we need to be making. With the universal chakra coming out as the third, the solar plexus, this is actually saying that the universe is going to be interacting with us and providing us with more opportunities to tap into and strengthen our confidence and to strengthen our willpower. So you may find, because I just thought of this example, this personal example, you may find yourself getting more opportunities to like have a day off, or to like have more time off, where you have more free time, essentially, especially with this 5 coming out, right? We have more free time. However, some of us might be, and again, this is something that I'm, accepting and dealing with, and wanting to change, but I've been feeling as though a lot of times wanting to like use that time to sleep, rest, do nothing, just laze around, right? To loaf around. And granted, yes, when I, like, for example, have my children with me, I don't necessarily have the opportunity to do that, especially mentally. So when I do get opportunities to have time off, time away from my children in particular, there is a huge resistance that I have to get through to be able to, make the choice to, for example, work out, do an exercise. Now, for some reason, I have been able to, make the decision to work out when I do have my kids with me, to, get it done, and to not have that excuse of, my kids are here, I have to, watch out for them, this, that, and the third. I don't want them to interrupt me. Like, I've been trying to not allow that excuse to, essentially keep me from working out when I have my kids. However, though, for some reason, when I have my days off from them, it's hard for me to work up the will to work out, to get an exercise in, because it just feels like I am so exerted energetically in those moments with my kids that once I have a moment to myself, it feels like I just want to, indulge in literally that silence, indulge in the fact that the only needs I need to, take care of are my own in that instance, So we might find ourselves receiving more opportunities to exercise our willpower. However, though, it's going to take our acknowledgement of our passions, what it is that we truly, truly love doing and feel that we have, again, this calling and this purpose for doing, that's going to help us to take advantage of those opportunities and of those moments that the universe is granting us with. Okay, so now we are going to pull from the Lenormand, and again, because we got the number 5 as our intuit digit, we will be getting 5 of these Lenormand cards. So let's go ahead and see, what is it that we need to hear at this time? Benevolent spirit guides of this collective, benevolent ancestors of this collective, higher selves of this collective, what is it that we need to hear at this time? Okay. Okay. All right. So we have 1, the clover, 2, the forked road, 3, the letter, 4, the ship, and 5, the ring in reverse. Okay. Now, again, these are Lenormand cards. So if you're looking at these and you're like, I have never in my life heard of a ship tarot card, that's because these are not tarot cards. This is the Raina George Lenormand deck. But let's go ahead and get started with just interpreting this base of the reading. So first, it's broken up into, past, present, future. So first we have our past, and I'm seeing this being represented by the clover and the fork in the road. Now, what I'm getting is that for this collective, we have actually been in, I guess you could kind of say, a good period in our lives in terms of things being taken care of, in terms of things ending up working out in our favor, in terms of, things, or us being lucky, being highly favored, being blessed, right? We have actually, in our history, seen time and time again how blessed and lucky we truly, truly are. However, though, there has still been this sense of indecision and this sense of questioning what direction to go in when it comes to our, again, our purpose, our career, whatever sort of creative process or creative project that we might be, envisioning and deciding on what we want to do. And the thing is, with these two together, what I'm getting is that, while we have had, our needs consistently met, there has still been a sense or a feeling of almost unluckiness when it comes to the pursuit of our goals and our dreams and aspirations. It's like, while we have not yet received the fruits of that labor that we've been putting in, the labor of our passions, again, we have still been lucky and blessed enough to allow ourselves to have our needs met and our, make ends meet. With this letter here, this is what I'm seeing as our present. And with the letter, this is about us not only being expressive about, how it is that we truly feel about our situation, about our circumstances, about what options we have, what paths we are actually deciding between, right? But it's also about really being a bit strategic and planning, being able to, write down what your intentions are, writing down what your goals, aspirations are, being able to, just have this sense of clarity, have this sense of, recognition of an acknowledgement of, again, where you are and where it is that you see yourself going, or at the very least where it is that you want to go, right? Now, with the ship and the ring in reverse representing our future, the ship card represents a journey, the the transition between, one chapter to another, all of the middle minutia, that is within the journey, the actual travel, the actual experiencing along the way, right? However, though, with this ring represents commitment. It represents a sense of feeling like you are committing to and making a full articulate decision that you are committing to this journey. However, because it's coming out in this reverse position, it's saying that our commitment is going to be tested. There's going to be some, some waves, some storms, some hurricanes along the way that's going to shake up our commitment. And I'm kind of glad that this is coming out. And I feel like if you are a part of, my collective in particular, if you happen to be called to, listen to the messages that I share, I feel as though that you may also have had this happen, have already experienced this push and pull with the commitment to your dreams and the commitment to your goals, right? This just coming out in the future is saying that this is, if you relate to that, right, this is going to continue to happen. However, though, the only thing that is going to flip this card to make this commitment solid, right? This proposal of making this path yours and yours alone, and committing to what that path or where that path is taking you, the only thing that can truly flip this card around is connecting more again to, like, so many people say it, but it's true, the why of your goals and your passions. Why do you want to do what you do? Why do you want to, go on this journey in the first place? And do you, I was going to say, do you love it enough, you know, for it to become sustained by you? Because at the end of the day, right, when it comes to our goals, our aspirations, our dreams, we are the only life force that they have. Like, if we don't tend to them, if we don't put in any sort of effort, any sort of, you know, energy into them, they'll just wither up and die. They'll just stay at the size that they're at. They'll stay at the energetic level that they're at. We are the only ones who can breathe and pour life into our dreams. Now, granted, yes, there may be times where we fall off the wagon, right? But the goal is not to ultimately stop falling off the wagon. The goal is ultimately to continue to get back on it, right? Like, to not allow those fall offs to happen as much as they have before. Like, to have some sort of progress and improvement in our consistency and in our ability to show up and to do the things that we said and have dreamt of ourselves doing, right? I'm pretty sure I was just channeling right there, because I don't even know where I was gonna go. But yeah, like, with us being the only thing that can breathe life into our goals, understand that even if you, again, put it down for a moment, that time that you had where you picked it up and did it is an investment into the growth of that thing, right? So don't think that because you are currently inconsistent or currently, out of routine or out of a system, when it comes to how you want to execute your goals and how you want to pursue your goals. Understand that each time you manage to do it, it is still an investment into that future. It is still a deposit into that account, right? Like, it's still work. It's still content that you made. It's still a blog post that you wrote. It's still a chapter that you finished. It's still a draft that you made, right? Like, it's still something. Excuse me, confirmation burp. No matter how small it was, no matter how short the duration was, it's still an investment into the future that you see. And again, like, the only thing that's going to shorten the breaks in between and to lengthen those periods of consistency of showing up is going to be acknowledging and establishing what your why is, and also as well how you are going to show up. What does showing up look like for you, right? Don't try to force yourself to fit into some other influencer's routine. Don't think that you have to, set your environment up in a particular way that you saw on YouTube. Like, figure out exactly what is going to work for you as the individual that you are. And, commit to that. Define what showing up looks like to you, and then commit to following that strategy, following that system that you have created, and put it into place. All right. Let's clarify the clovers and the forked road. Please clarify the past position, please. last shuffle. Please clarify the past position. Okay. Whew. All right, clarifying the past, we have the Three of Staffs in reverse, Temperance, and the Three of Swords in reverse. Okay, so what I'm getting again is that, like, with the Three of Staffs, this card, when it's right side up, typically represents like our pursuit of our passions. The staffs represents the element of fire, our passions, our goals, also the element of like spirituality as well. The Three of Staffs represents that embarking upon the journey and being able to, you know, see where it is that you're going and having this sense of optimism and this sense of, you know, can-do-itness, that you're ready to continue along the journey. You're ready to keep pursuing because you see yourself gaining momentum. You see yourself getting closer to, you know, where it is that you're trying to go. But with it coming out in the reverse, again, this was saying to me that we have had this disconnect or this, you know, sense of almost pessimism when it comes to viewing our goals. Again, potentially because of these Three of Swords, these disappointments that we have experienced, these moments of like feeling as though, you know, we didn't receive what we were due, or that, you know, our work wasn't valued in the way that we thought it ought to have been. But the thing is, with Temperance coming out, it's definitely indicating that we have been in this period of divine timing and also divine patience. People don't talk about that. When it comes to divine timing, you need to have patience, right? Like, it's the prerequisite to dealing with and accepting the divine timing. Because even if you know that divine timing is, you know, a thing, and that things are only going to happen in the timing that it needs to, or in, you know, in the way that God has planned it out to go, ultimately, sorry, my nose keeps itching, but ultimately, you know, goodness, what was I going to say? I was going to say that if you don't have the patience, it's just going to drive you crazy. And it's just going to create this sense of, you know, just being miserable, feeling hopeless, feeling just stuck. Because ultimately, all you're going to be doing is worrying about when it's going to happen. And hyper focusing, being hyper vigilant on like seeing as to whether or not your manifestations and your dreams are coming into fruition. We have to practice and exercise our patience when it comes to our passions and our goals. Okay, let's go ahead and clarify the letter really fast. Please clarify our present position. Okay. That means the shuffling is done. All right. Clarifying the letter, we have the Two of Staffs. Okay. Taking a bit of a step back, right, to truly prepare. Okay. Then we have the Three of Cups in reverse. Okay. And then the Nine of Swords in reverse. Okay, so, what I'm seeing here is that one, again, with that, taking that step back to truly like plan and strategize about what you are going to do, how you are going to show up. With the Three of Cups coming out in the reverse, this is telling me that, you know, we have been feeling this lack of community, this lack of support when it comes to our, you know, again, our goals, our aspirations, our dreams. We haven't felt like, you know, the people around us, the people closest to us have been, you know, supporting us, pouring into us, referring us to, you know, their peers or people that they know. But the thing is, with this Nine of Swords in the reverse, this is telling me that we are shifting out of the mental space to where this Three of Cups, or this current Three of Cups energy, persisting to where it is, you know, causing us to lack faith and to lack a sense of optimism for our future. The Nine of Swords, it's a, you know, pretty bleak card when you look at it, and it represents, you know, this sense of mental defeat, in a way, where, you know, we are continuing to ruminate over things ultimately that we could not control, the thoughts of people that we had no ability of changing, influencing, you know. But with it coming out in the reverse, this is indicating that we are shifting out of that, you know, that heaviness, that we're putting down that weight, that burden of other people's opinions, of other people's thoughts and, you know, concerns, their advice for our goals and things like that, and our dreams, like the opinions of those who aren't even our target audience, right? Like all of those things we're now putting to the side so that we can focus on, again, where we're going and focusing on what we can do to get there. Okay. Now let's clarify the Ship and the Ring in reverse. I'm interested to see what comes out. Okay. Please clarify the future position. One more shuffle. Okay. Clarifying the future, we have, let's see, we have the Four of Coins in reverse. Okay. The Hanged Man and the Nine of Coins in reverse. Okay. All right. So what I'm getting from these, clarifying our future. So one thing that I'm getting is that there's going to be a need to address our resources and our ability to like divvy up our resources. And mainly I'm referring to like energetically, like the spoons that we have. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the spoon theory, but that we start off our day, you know, with a certain number of spoons. And when it comes to getting through different tasks, different, you know, things in our to-do list, it requires a certain amount of spoons. And if we run out of spoons before we get through everything on that list, there are things that don't get done. So, you know, there are times where we have to be very strategic when it comes to how we want to use our spoons. That's what I'm getting with this Four of Coins in the reverse. Now, granted, yes, typically the coins represents, you know, finances, material resources, but what I'm getting is more so focusing on like the physical energy. This Four of Coins, you know, it is often described as, you know, the card that represents this sense of like needing to be frugal, needing to be a little bit stingy, or being a little bit stingy when it comes to, giving out what it is that we have. It also represents this sense of like saving, being able to have a reserve of our, resources. And when it comes to how I'm interpreting this right now, when it comes to, again, that physical energy, like literally I'm talking about just like how energized you feel to be able to get through your day, get through these weeks, months, years of pursuing your passions. With it coming out in the reverse, it's just telling me that, again, this is going to be something that is going to be a challenge, finding this sense of balance, finding this, almost like pocket, this, flow that works for us to where we can continue to pursue our passions while not burning out in the process. The Hanged Man indicates that this journey, this ship ride, this boat ride that we're on is going to be like a masterclass in surrendering. There's going to be so much beyond our control, right? Like when it comes to our goals, like just entrepreneurship in general, or even just life in general, there's so much outside of our control when it comes to, what it is that we're going to experience in this life. And if we, again, are trying to control the things that are beyond our control, we're going to drive ourselves insane. We're going to go crazy. So this period of our lives is going to be teaching us how to surrender and how to give up the need to control things and the desire to control things. And then with the 9 of Coins coming out in the reverse, because of this struggle, this internal war that we're going to be having with letting go and being hands off about certain things, right? It's going to make us start to question our self-security, like how well off we actually are. Because it's going to feel like if we can't control these things, then there must be something wrong with me. However, in reality, there's nothing wrong with you. In reality, because we're focusing on controlling what we can control, we're actually building this sense of we're actually building that sense of security that we're questioning as to whether or not we have. We're actually creating this self-sustainment and this this financial security. We're creating that by creating and sticking to what is within our wheelhouse and releasing and surrendering what is not. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to pull from the Thoth Tarot to get the final takeaway from this portion of the reading, and then we are going to pull from 6 different oracle decks, and one of them is this karma cards that I found recently. That one is going to be a little bit fun because it's going to give us an actual like sentence. And I'm really excited to see what comes out for the collective there. But first, let's go ahead and get these final takeaways. What is the final takeaway for the collective? What is the final takeaway? What do we need to know from this message? We got the Moon, Art, and Princess of Swords. Okay, now the Art card, let me see, this is 14. Who's 14? Oh, 14 is Temperance. So we have Temperance again. That's so funny. So we have Temperance again. However, in the Thoth Tarot, they do say it is art. But with the Moon, art, and Princess of Swords. So what I'm getting is that the takeaway is that we need to, again, pay very close attention to what has been hidden, right? Like what has been lying beneath the surface when it comes to our struggle with commitment. My nose is itching, so this got to be true for somebody. I know it's true for me. But really figure out, right? Take the time to write down and journal about what has been a holdup for you. Is it the feeling of nobody's supporting me, feeling like the people closest to me don't even like my posts, so there must not be any value in it, feeling as though because we're not seeing engagement in our content or a financial reward from our promotions and things like that, that ultimately that reflects on our inherent value. Like, pay attention to whatever sort of subconscious thoughts, subconscious beliefs that you might have that have been causing you to self-sabotage and to, struggle with committing to this journey. Again, with this Temperance card, however, again, with it saying art, this is indicating to me that we're being encouraged to remember that, like, doing it for the art's sake is reason enough, or can be reason enough, ought to be reason enough. Our art is greater than just us, right? Like, there is a purpose it serves. It's a mission that it has. Creation in and of itself, creation, source energy, art is pure, it's love, and we have to recognize that, again, our expression of it is a unique rite of passage of our own, and we have a responsibility to make art and to express our art in the way that we do. With the Princess of Swords, this is also the Knight of Swords, and essentially this is also about having this strategy, having this plan of action as to how we are going to tackle and attack, combat against those negative thoughts, against those limiting beliefs that we have and that we may, that may continue to come up in the future. Okay, we need to be able to have a plan of attack, have a game plan on how we're going to reframe, our mental in order to make the execution, a whole lot easier. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get into the oracle cards. I'm just going to get one from the individual decks that I have, and then with the karma cards, like I said, we're going to be doing the sentence. It's a special little thing, okay? So, but first, let's go ahead. We're going to pull from the Egyptian gods oracle. Let's find out. Now you might be saying, that looks a little small. It's because it's the bootleg version, but it's okay. Okay. One last shuffle. What message do we need from the Egyptian gods today? We have perseverance with Neith, okay? That is so perfect. Exactly. We just need to continue to persevere. We need to practice our perseverance. right? And what's going to continue to help us to do that is, again, connecting with our why, connecting with our passion, that heart chakra. Woo! That shelf was just so yummy. Ah. This is the Cosmic Journeys Oracle. What message do we need? Okay. We got... Deliver your greatest gift to the world. See, that's beautiful and definitely on theme. Oh. Deliver your greatest gift to the world. And this is what I was kind of like trying to get at when it came to the art card. Like, it's bigger than just you. It's bigger than just your family. It's bigger than just your high school class. It's bigger than just your childhood friends. You've been called to create the art that you create because only you are able to express it in the way to where it will impact who it needs to. All right. Next, messages from the ancestors. Ah, goodness, okay. Whoops. All right, we have animal with instinct. Okay. So our ancestors are, telling us to truly pay attention to our instincts, our intuition, what it is we feel, again, pulled towards, what it is we feel called toward. Yeah, there's a reason that you feel the way that you do. There's a reason that you keep feeling, drawn to something. These are the super attractor cards. This is just going to give us a nice encouraging word. Okay. All right, we have, I heal the habit of fear. And I embrace the habit of love. Ooh, that's beautiful for today's message. I heal the habit of fear. And I embrace the habit of love. We definitely need to heal that fear that we have. Again, addressing any sort of limiting beliefs, any sort of fears that we adopted, that we internalized, all of it. Okay. Final normal oracle card is going to be the lesson that we're learning. What lesson are our souls learning at this time? We have failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. Okay. And this is also, I feel like we're learning about, I was going to say we're learning about what failure is to us, but also that failure does not, failure does not define us. Failure does not failure don't stop no show. You know, we're understanding that failure is just a part of the journey. It's a part of the process. Every single person, every single successful person who has the riches and the wealth right now has failed countless times along their way. And for a lot of them, they wouldn't have gotten to where they are now if they hadn't had failed in the way and as many times as they did. Okay? So, yeah, understand that whatever failure that you experience along this boat trip that you're on, this journey that you are on right now, understand that it is education. It is, like research material. It gives you information about not only what works for you, but also what may be of interest to others, right? And all you can do is learn from it. All you can do is learn from it. So let's go ahead and close out. Okay, so this is why this deck is so cool. So it's broken up into the houses, the signs, and the planets. So how this works is on each of the cards, there are two sides, right? So the red side gives us an action that we are being instructed or guided to take, pertaining to whatever question that we may have. Now, of course, right now we're just going to do a general, what is it that we need to hear? And we'll get an action for today. And then on the bottom of the decks, we'll get our outcome message, because the outcome sentence is the blue side. So I'm going to shuffle each of these piles, and then we're going to get our message. So let's go ahead. Ooh, my nose, just so itchy. Let's find out. What action does the collective need to take at this time? Okay. What action does the collective need to take at this time? Okay. What action does the collective need to take at this time? And then, like I said, the bottoms of these decks, once cut, will be the outcome of taking that action. Okay. First, the planet. We have Jupiter with learn or teach. Okay. With the signs, because this card went all the way around, I feel like it wants to be seen. So we have in Taurus as our sign, and we have your beliefs. And there's even more, because it goes into the spiritual plane, the mental plane, and the physical plane. Okay. But next with the houses, or lastly with the houses, we have in the 8th house, Jupiter in Taurus in the 8th house. Astrology girlies, tell me what that means, okay? I do intend on learning more about astrology, but I'm still very, very basic right now. But in the 8th house, we have as a life or death issue. Ooh, okay. Interesting. So the sentence that we have here is on the spiritual plane. Learn or teach your beliefs as a life or death issue. Be positive about the costs of getting and using power. Grow and expand. Use the most direct way, and use other people's resources. Interesting. Okay. And then next, let's go ahead and get the outcome. We have the sun, the creation of, in Pisces, spirituality to ultimately experience. In the 9th house, spiritual values. So, in terms of the outcome, it's saying that if we learn or teach our beliefs as a life or death issue, and can we just talk about that for a moment? How pertinent that is, because this is what I'm talking about when it comes to that letter energy, that strategy. Really find out what your beliefs are, especially the limiting and harmful ones, right? We have to learn these beliefs as though it's a life or death issue, because it is. Right? Like the life that we live and the death that we succumb to all pertains to what it is that we, or who it is that we believe that we are, right? And if we learn or teach our beliefs as a life or death issue, then ultimately the creation of spirituality to ultimately experience spiritual values. So we're going to be, increasing our spirituality, increasing our spiritual values, diving more deeply into our own spiritual experience, because we'll be able to see more about, like how our connection to spirit, kind of plays out when it comes to how we believe in ourselves. When it comes to how we view ourselves, it will show us how deeper connected we become to spirit, and how easy, or how much easier it is to see and receive the spiritual blessings, the spiritual signs, the spiritual coincidences that we get to experience. On the mental plane, it says for the outcome, the gaining of respect for or from trusting your psychic knowledge of long-range thinking or travel. So, yeah, with long-range thinking, this is again being able to, plan for the long haul, really get a full scope on what it is that you're dealing with and what it is that you're facing when it comes to, again, that struggle to commit. And then on the physical plane, it says the outcome is things brought to life or light, resulting from the indecision of or about what is to be shared. So again, when it comes to what it is that we're sharing, our passions and our goals, the light that it brings, and also the potential for the lack of light through the indecision of following through, of sharing it with the world. Oh, my nose is itching. So again, it's got to be right for somebody. So that is what I am receiving for today's message. I definitely do hope that resonated with you. If it did, leave a comment down below. Let's leave, because we got a lot of wings here, leave a wing emoji. Is there a wings emoji? Angel wings or something? Or a bird? Something that flies, something with wings. Put it in the comments. But that's all that I have for this reading. Thank you so much again for watching. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to this channel to receive more collective readings. If you're ever interested in your own personal reading, definitely find me on my website at intention2intention.com. All written readings are available through email, and they start at just $5.55. You can find all the links that you need down in the description below. Thank you again so much, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.